You call it a decision, but it's just your vibrational pattern taking control again. You think you're choosing, but what you're really doing is repeating. What you feel, you repeat. What you fear, you recreate. And even when you try to change, something invisible keeps you stuck in the same cycle, like there's a force behind everything, silent but constant. That force is not outside, it vibrates within. Most people believe they have free will because they can think. But thoughts are reflections of fields. Emotions, habits, traumas, they all vibrate. And what vibrates, shapes. That means as long as your field remains unconscious, your decisions are just simulations of freedom. You feel like you're making choices, but you also feel like you're going in circles. It's like being awake inside a dream where everything responds to your commands, except your own will. The truth is simpler and deeper than it seems. The free will we were taught is mental, but true free will begins on a different level, the vibrational one. There's no use deciding with your mind if your vibration hasn't been purified. You'll just change the label on your prison, but you'll stay in the same place. Thoth knew this, and he left behind a hidden map, a sequence of vibrational operations for those seeking real freedom, not mental, not theoretical, but energetic, deep, and transformational. Freedom doesn't arrive when you decide. It begins when you vibrate in a clean, coherent, and unshakable way. Most people understand freedom as the ability to choose what to do, but Thoth taught something that changes everything. True freedom is not about decision, it's about frequency. Choosing with your mind is not enough. You need to hold the vibration that transforms reality even before you act. In the ancient emerald tablets, Thoth didn't just record esoteric symbols. He encoded a sequence of vibrational operations that completely redefined the concept of free will. These are 13 lessons that don't speak about belief. They speak about field, energy, alignment, and transformation. Each of these lessons reveals that the world doesn't respond to your desire, it responds to your vibration. And everything you call a choice is just a reflection of what you're putting out without realizing it. Once that becomes clear, you no longer act in the dark. You begin to command your field, and the field commands reality. The law of vibration, found in Hermeticism and at the core of ancient hidden wisdom, states that everything that exists vibrates. But Thoth went further. He showed that each vibration can be operated consciously, like an instrument tuned by the soul. And that's where free will stops being theoretical and becomes alchemical. These 13 lessons are not commandments or moral codes. They are frequencies, energy structures that show, in a practical way, why you keep living the same patterns and how to break free from the cycle without having to force your mind. Fight your past or escape the present. You can keep trying to control your thoughts, or you can learn to purify your vibration. What's the difference? One wears you out, the other sets you free. What will be revealed in this video is not just a nice idea. It's a system for vibrational reconnection. And those who apply it with awareness will feel not only more lightness, but more power. Because true power doesn't come from resisting fate. It comes from vibrating above it, until it has no choice but to change. Long before science measured the electromagnetic field of the heart, or quantum physics suggested that the observer influences the outcome, the ancients already knew. Reality and vibration are one and the same. At the heart of this wisdom stands Thoth, the archetype of divine intelligence. In the Egyptian tradition, he is the scribe of the gods, the master of invisible measures, the one who decodes what lies beyond the senses. But in the Hermetic schools, he is more than a deity, He is the symbol of the universal mind that knows how to vibrate with pure intention. The emerald tablets, attributed to Thoth, are not just records of spiritual wisdom. They are vibrational treatises, hermetic codes compressed into symbolic language to preserve truths that do not age. Every line was written as a portal for activation, and each lesson, a precise operation designed to elevate the consciousness of those who listen with the right inner ear. In these tablets, free will is not presented as a rational choice. It is described as a result of one's vibrational state. For Thoth, freedom was never about the simple ability to choose between two options. It only exists when a being vibrates beyond the reach of fear, blind desire, and dense memories. The first lesson he shares is non-negotiable. Everything is vibration. Nothing is still. No choice is neutral. Every thought, every emotion, every breath, all of it emits something. And what is emitted creates. If you don't perceive what you're vibrating, you don't perceive what you're creating. Then comes a key that few know how to decode. Consciousness tunes reality. This means you don't attract what you think, not even what you want. You attract what you can energetically sustain. Your life is not a reflection of your will, but of what your consciousness can hold in resonance. For initiates in the mystery schools, these two lessons were the foundation of every spiritual, alchemical, or magical practice. The ritual, the technique, the symbol, none of it matters without vibrational coherence. Without it, everything fails. Today, we call it vibrational physics, bioelectromagnetism, morphogenetic fields. But the names change, the principle remains. Those who master their own field, master their own destiny. The freedom the ancients sought was not political, emotional, or social freedom. It was the freedom to no longer be an automatic reflection of collective chaos. It was vibrational sovereignty. And Thoth laid out the path, not for the most intelligent, but for the most conscious. Modern neuroscience has already proven what the ancients intuitively understood. You don't decide with full awareness. You react based on conditioning. Studies led by names like Joe Dispenza show that more than 90% of your daily thoughts are the same as the day before. That means if your vibration doesn't change, your life won't either. Dispenza also shows that the emotions you feel most often shape the chemistry of your body, creating neural circuits and physiological states that define your future choices. Fear creates contraction. Guilt creates self-sabotage. Anxiety creates escape. And as long as you're vibrating in these patterns, your decisions are not choices, they are predictable responses. This is exactly what Thoth meant when he said, emotions shape matter. He wasn't speaking about theory, he was describing vibrational structure. The emotional field is the hidden architecture that organizes what you perceive as reality. Modern physics is beginning to touch on this as well. David Bohm, one of the most respected names in quantum physics, introduced the concept of the implicate order, an invisible layer of reality that connects everything, acting as a matrix of frequency that guides how matter behaves on the visible level. In other words, what you maintain consistently in feeling, attention, and vibration changes what emerges in reality. Manifestation does not respond to momentary desire, but to sustained coherence. You don't create with willpower, you create with your field. This is the meeting point between ancient wisdom and modern science. And what was once a mystery is beginning to be measured. Reality is listening, and it only responds to the frequency you can fully sustain. Turning free will into something real takes more than intention. It requires structured frequency. The 13 lessons of Thoth are not just concepts. They are vibrational practices which, when arranged in sequence, reveal a precise path for those who wish to free their consciousness from invisible constraints. Step 1. Make the invisible field visible. Everything begins with perception. You can't transform what you're not yet aware of. The first operation is to recognize that everything is vibration, and that every internal state, even the most subtle, is emitting a frequency. Thoth not only affirms this as a foundation, but also leads into the second lesson: consciousness tunes reality. In other words, the field around you is just a mirror of the frequency you hold most consistently. Practical micro-action throughout your day. Pause for 30 seconds and observe your vibration as if you were checking a temperature. Is it expansive or contracted? Clear or cloudy? This daily energetic check-in is the starting point of vibrational autonomy. Step 2. Purify emotions to free up choice. You can't choose something that's outside the frequency you're able to hold. Repressed emotions distort the field and hijack your perception. Here we come to the lesson. Emotions shape matter. If your vibration is constantly impacted by fear, anger, or guilt, any attempt to decide will simply reflect what has not yet been integrated. Purification begins with acceptance, but goes further. It requires inner movement. Inner balance creates outer harmony, and that balance is not born from rigidity, but from coherence. You don't need to force yourself to be positive. You simply need to stop resisting what is already asking to be released. Practical micro-action. Choose a recurring emotion, and for 7 days, breathe consciously when you feel it, without judgment. Just the act of observing it with presence starts to shift the vibration that was previously running on autopilot. Step 3. Restructure the energy channels after recognition and purification. It's time to reorganize your inner energetic structure. If the channels through which your life force flows are blocked, you might have intention, but you won't have flow. This leads us to the 5th lesson: the channels of vital force. Vibration is not only what you feel, it's also about how it flows. When there are subtle blockages in the energetic body, perception becomes distorted and willpower gets fragmented. Thoth also revealed that sound is the architecture of creation. This means that words, tones, and thoughts act as commands in your field. Every word you repeat unconsciously is a frequency anchoring your current reality. Practical micro-action. Avoid using phrases that reinforce limitation or scarcity. Instead of saying "I can't," try saying "I haven't yet organized my field for that." This simple linguistic shift starts to dislodge old vibrational patterns and restructure your system. Step 4. Reconfigure the code of reality. Thoth taught that the flower of life is the vibrational code of creation. This reveals that everything is interconnected by recurring energetic patterns. All reality is a network of intertwined frequencies. To change your experience, you must shift your vibrational position within that code. The key lies in the 8th lesson: the inner fire that transmutes density. It is this fire that allows you to break patterns, release accumulated heaviness, and reorganize your vibrational signature. This transmutation requires conscious emotional energy and a clear will, not control. Practical micro-action. Identify a repetitive cycle in your life. Instead of fighting it, ignite the fire of awareness. Ask yourself which part of you is still vibrating in alignment with that pattern. The answer won't come from the mind, it will come from the feeling. And once you become aware of it, something begins to burn. Step 5. Sustain the frequency of freedom. After transmutation comes the most subtle challenge: holding the new frequency without slipping back into old fields. Thoth teaches that polarity is the path to ascension. This means vibrational freedom isn't about eliminating opposites, but about integrating light and shadow as parts of the same power. Reality doesn't change because you want it to. It changes because your vibration stops swinging between extremes and starts operating in coherence. Here, Thoth introduces a new dimension, time as a vibrational field. You're not stuck in the past, you're just still vibrating as you did before. Every timeline is organized by frequency. When you shift your vibration, you shift your inner time, and the outer world responds. Practical microaction. Before going to sleep, revisit your day and ask, what vibration did I hold most today? If the answer isn't aligned with your vision for the future, choose to vibrate differently as you fall asleep. The body records what it feels right before sleep. The final lessons of Thoth are seals of coherence. The earth, as a living vibrational being, shows us that staying in tune with nature, with the cycles, and with the physical body is essential to avoid collapsing your own field. High vibration is not an escape, it is elevated, grounding, and finally, two keys intertwine: pure intention as a frequency of manifestation, and silence as the supreme channel of vibration. There is no freedom unless intention is born from essence, untouched by ego. And you only recognize that essence in silence, where the original vibration can be felt without noise. Free will, then, is not the power to choose what to do. It is the power to sustain a vibration so clearly that reality reorganizes itself around it. For years, Kale believed he was in control of his own life. He made choices with logic, built plans with discipline, and always based his decisions on reason. But behind the mental organization, there was a silent cycle. Nothing ever truly changed. Different relationships, same conflicts. New paths, same frustrations. He started to notice strange patterns. Every time he tried to move forward, something invisible pulled him back. Small crises repeated themselves under different disguises. The decisions seemed conscious, but inside it felt like a prison. An unease he couldn't explain, a constant echo of anxiety and doubt. It was in the breakdown that something cracked open. On a quiet night, with no distractions, Kale felt his mind let go. For the first time, he stopped looking for answers, and in place of the noise, he found something he had never accessed. An inner field, vibrating, disorganized, but alive. There, between exhaustion and silence, he realized he wasn't free, he was just reactive. In the days that followed, instead of making decisions, Kale started observing his field. He noticed that certain thoughts only appeared when he was emotionally tense, that certain desires were just attempts to escape uncomfortable sensations, and that, in silence, his perception began to reorganize, as if another intelligence was emerging from within. He didn't change everything overnight, but he changed the vibration he was holding. He breathed with awareness, stopped repeating words filled with guilt, sat on the earth, fell asleep with a calm heart, and slowly, without forcing anything, life around him started to respond differently. Kale understood that freedom wasn't about deciding with more force. It was about feeling with more clarity. And in that state, decisions were no longer something to chase. They became natural reflections of a clean vibration. Understanding what you're vibrating is already a revolution. But holding that vibration in the midst of chaos, that is the true challenge. Even after awakening to this new awareness, many fall at the same point. Instability, one unexpected piece of news, a tense conversation, a moment of frustration, and the field becomes disorganized. Old emotional patterns slip back in, the frequency begins to waver, and without noticing, you go back to reacting the same way as before. This is where most people give up. The mind believes the process isn't working. But the truth is, the field is simply returning to what feels most familiar: noise. And this noise comes from both outside and within. Anxiety, comparisons, urgency, pressure. All of it sabotages alignment. The answer is not to force more focus or try harder to control yourself. The answer lies in the quietest lesson from Thoth: silence as the supreme channel of vibration. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of inner conflict. It's the state where the field naturally realigns, without ego interference, without compensating efforts. It's in this energetic stillness that the frequency stabilizes again. It's not about withdrawing from the world. It's about not allowing the world to interfere with the vibrational structure you chose to hold. True strength isn't reacting with more force. It's choosing not to react until the field is clear. The universe doesn't hear your voice. It hears your frequency. And the most powerful frequency is the one that stays steady, even in silence. What we call free will has always felt like an undeniable right. But few realize that this right doesn't begin in the intellect. It doesn't flourish in the realm of ideas. It rises from what you're vibrating, not from what you're thinking. Thoth revealed that freedom doesn't begin when you choose between two paths. It begins when you stop being controlled by frequencies you didn't even know you were emitting. When you stop repeating vibrations inherited from fear, urgency, guilt, and doubt, and begin sustaining a coherent, silent, and conscious field. The mind can make plans, but it's frequency that materializes reality. True free will is not the power to act whenever you want. It's the power to maintain a clean vibration, even when everything around you demands a reaction. It's choosing not to give in to the impulse, not out of weakness, but out of energetic sovereignty. It is in this state that reality begins to respond differently. The doors that once seemed locked dissolve. The cycles stop repeating. Synchronicity returns. And you finally understand that it was never about controlling the world. It was about no longer vibrating as someone who feels the need to fight it. As Gurdjieff once said, freedom is only possible when a man begins to see how he is controlled and wishes to be different. May each of the 13 lessons become more than just a learning. May they become practice, field, presence, intentional vibration, because true transformation is not revealed in words. It is revealed in the silence between an old vibration and a new frequency that begins to rise. If this message resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Write this mantra in the comments: I hold the frequency of my freedom. This simple gesture anchors the field you just activated and strengthens the invisible network that connects us. Share this video with someone who needs to understand that real change doesn't start with a decision. It starts with the end of the vibration that feeds the old cycle. And if you're ready to go even deeper into this process, click on the screen to watch another transformative video. Because while the world keeps pushing you outward, the right vibration pulls you back to what you never stopped being.